Today's Tuesday, third day of trading. Second day will close in about an hour. For the past several months, I've been actively working on a proprietary firm challenges. And what I'm looking forward to doing is completing those challenges and finally becoming really withdrawing some funds from the trading prop firms. A couple of days ago, I was able to get funded with funding traders and then achieved a $150 payout. But something happened to me mentally, and I decided to just forgo the payout and decided to keep trading that account with no safety net whatsoever. And of course, I managed to blow up that account. So I'm not going to get a payout. So this time around, there has been a very challenging proprietary firm, which is a funding pips, and I failed miserably in. I would get to the second stage and I would fail that, even though it's easier. I would dig myself into a very deep drawdown, and I would never be able to. I could never return and pass that second stage. It's a 5% second stage. The first stage is 8%, and I would pass that 8%, but it turned out to be a more difficult situation. So what I decided to do, since I passed the first one, and my written criteria is to have two funded accounts, which I consider the first one as a funded account. It is a funded account, despite the fact that I had enough. I could have withdrawn it if I waited a few more days, just left it as is, but I decided I don't know what happened, but it just happens. So this time around, what I decided to do is $5,000 is not going to allow me the luxury of a significant side hustle income stream, and therefore, at a minimum, a 10K would be a dramatic. It would make a substantial addition to my income stream, and therefore I'm not counting on these $5,000 this $5,000 trading the way that I trade anyway. The reason is I'm not as skillful as those individuals who could make dramatic improvements, dramatic P&L gains with a 5K account. I'm not there yet. So what I decided to do is essentially get the second funded account with funding pips. That has been a challenge. I want to pass that. If I can pass that, that means that I essentially have become fairly decent at making money, and that will translate into carrying that over to the 10K. I made a mistake of attempting to pass the 10K early on, where I should have just waited. I should have waited because that created a complication that added to the fact that I was working on the 5K, and then I was also working on the 10K, and I had multiple windows, and my notebook computer, which is almost 10 years old, has been essentially been weighed down, dragged down, and me not going with sleep for several months in a bed, dozing off in a chair, all started off with bed bugs. Because every time I would go to sleep, I would have like tens of bed bugs just around my ankle, just gnawing at me. Finally, I got rid of them. Now, so the idea is the goal for me, I've proven that I can pass the funding traders prop firm. So I will hold off and go for the 10K with that, and that will be the first 10K requirement for me to pass and get funded with that. That's the next step that I have. And before then, what I would do is take on the challenge of passing the funding PIPs. It's essentially, the first stage is $400 with a 5K account. Today, I made about $156 with the account that I have. And if I keep this up, I'm thinking this week I will pass the first stage, and then I will leave it up to passing the second stage next week. And next week, I should be paid from my place of employment so that I can pay my bills and have a little bit to stage myself for the next step that will come. And the funding from the 10K will be very, very serious. It will be uh, if I can make about $100 a day, which is possible with the 10K account, not going overboard, but being moderately risky, not too risky, but moderately controllable risk, will allow me to make about $100 a day. If I can make $100 a day with a 10K account, that means that if I can, then I multiply that by 5x, which is a 50K account, and I'm looking at maybe plus somewhere around $500 a day with a 50K account, and perhaps $1,000 with a 100K account, and maybe even $2,000 a day with a 200K account, possibly. Now, I've heard from professional day traders that they risk about a percent, and the idea is to risk small so that there is a higher chance of survivability and continuing on this funded accounts. So, and risking too much to get that, essentially getting a massive payout on a single day, would be too much of a risk, risking the funded account to be blown. So my total focus this week is to pass that 5K, either with Maven trading, or with funding pips, and I will set the funding traders aside until the next paycheck cycle that comes in, and I will purchase the 10K account from there. So that's the plan, and hopefully by the end of this year, I will have a 200K account that is funded. That is the goal. That is a lifetime goal. If it takes the rest of my life to achieve it, then that's how it's going to be. It's going to happen soon, later, or even later. That's how it's going to be. As long as my body and my mind as long as my body and my mind holds up together, taking care of sitting at this desk and washing dishes, and hopefully it won't be too long, and hopefully the hopefully hopefully everything just falls in line and things work out really well. That's the hope that I have, and that's the main focus that I have. Main focus.